Okay, now, so this is where we are currently, but let's see how we get here. On our VS Code, what I did here, look at what I just did, is a simple HTML structure. So the only thing that is different there is because I added a link. You can see this link. I added a link to our our existing CSS file, which is called style.css. This is the style.css here. So I added a link there, and we have after the link is the only thing that is spectacular here. Then another thing we have we have a div. So the div I call the class, and the class name is form content. So you understand. So that's just all I have done so far. So another thing I did was the body. If you look at it, that here we are having a background color, a background image. A background image, it means from the existing document we have, we are using that same style. There is something in OOP. Who know what OOP? Object Oriented Programming. That is what we call there is one of the features there that is called inheritance. What do I call it? Yes. What is inheritance? The ability to reuse a particular class or object. So now I have an already made CSS that I want to inherit. And what I did here was to come here and inherit it via my link. So it means I am inheriting now that existing CSS. If you look at this index.html, I'm using the same CSS here. Look at it, Abby. Yes. So what I'm just doing that I have a different page, and there is one thing we talked about: external style sheet. Who can remind me? It's the external style sheet is used in order to stylize 2 or more documents in the same manner. It means in your website or your web folder, we say web folder is the collection of 2 or more web pages together in a folder. That's what we call a website, isn't it? Then we'll say those 2 or more web pages, if you want to style them in the same manner, you want the wallaba to be yellow, it means you need to give them the same CSS. Abi? So that's what we call external CSS. External CSS help you stylize 3 or more web pages in the same manner. It means they'll be having the same background color, they may be having the same header color. You don't need to repeatedly do those things. Automatically they are there. That's why we use external style sheet. And what I did here was to release our external style sheet, and I create a div content called form content. In our CSS now, because I'm using a selector of class, it means I will be noting it with dot. So I come back to our CSS now, and you can see me, I'm putting dot form content. Have I done anything spectacular? No. Then the dot form content, I give it a width of 500 pixel, I give it a height of 300 pixel, and a background color of white smoke. You can use anything you want. Let's scroll up a bit. Let's understand this CSS. If you look at my body, you can see in my structure of HTML, I always have body tag. So it means you can style any element. Remember, any element in the body section is what you can style in your CSS, and the body tag is the beginning of every element in the body. It means I want to tell how my body element looks like. Am I making sense at all? Yes, sir. Now, going on from there, I start my body. I say margin is 0. Padding is 0. Can you see it? And I say background image. You can see I use URL. Who can tell me the acronym for URL? Uniform resource locator. So when I'm putting an image here, it means if you look here, I have an image called background.jpg. Can you see here? Look up everybody. I have here background.jpg. You can see this is the background here. So you see, this is the image I'm using as my background image. That is why I recommend Visual Studio Code. With Visual Studio Code, you can have full access to any item in your web folder. You can see directly now. I can see my background. I don't need to go outside and see. For my Visual Studio Code, I have direct access to write, to read, and to modify any object in my folder. So that's that. So I put it here and I say background repeat, no repeat. Let's remove this no repeat and let's see what will happen. Let's comment it out and let's see what will happen. If we do that, let's see what will happen here. If you look at the image now, you have repetition. Okay, I've set this thing to yeah, I'm coming. Let's remove this size. Now let's look at what will happen. I want some people to have understanding of what we are doing. Can you see? everything is repeating. If you set a background, you do not make it no repeat, it will all be like this. And you don't want some, you cannot do like this for a client. So that's why you need to set that property of what? No repeat. Am I making sense now? So
if you don't put no repeat,
it will be repeating like that. So that is why. Now let's remove. I'm sorry. So let's remove these guys now. Let's first with this one. I want to show you what that does. Now, no repeat. If you no repeat, it will come in one. Let's look at it. No repeat. You can see it's only one. But now we want to expand it to make it what 100%. If I set something to 100%, it means it will take the whole page. The last time we did header, you can see after I selected my height, I make my width 100%. It means I want it to fill the whole screen. Am I making sense at all? Now I'm going to uncomment this guy to 100%. So with this now, I have this. If I refresh, voila. Are we not happy? We are happy now, Abby. So that is what we have gotten so far. But going forward from there, I don't want this guy to be in that light icon. I want it to be in the center. So what do I do? Not border radius, not height. What do I do? Look at it. I put a margin, and I set the margin to is 0 and auto. Abby. Now let's look at it, whether it will move or not. What it does? It goes to the center. Now you can see it's at the top edge. Now let's bring it down. What do? We use margin top. What do we use? Assignment. Go and look at what is different between margin and padding. I'm going to put 200, let's say 200 pixel here. Now let's look at what we get. Voila. So now it's too much. I'm going to make it 150, and I'm going to increase the height to 350. Now let's look at it. Are we not good? So now the design does not stop there. I want to do something fantastic, something romantic, something panimorious. Who can tell me what is panimorious? It is, there is something I explained to us last time. I told us about the folder. No keke mosque, I'm not buying. So now, under this form content now, I want to have another D. If you are with me, let's go together. I'm going to call this header. What do I call it? So inside this header now, I'll go and start the header. I will say, I can do something, say .form content, comma, header. I can do that. That's serious CSS, but let's do it simple first. Some people might just have headache. So let's try to understand this method. Then when we are now going to advanced class, we'll get that. I'll just header. I explained this before. This is what we call a selector and a select a what? This is what? The header now, I will say the header, because the header is dependent on the content. Let's say the width of the header should also take the same thing. The width will be 500 pixel, Abi, background color. Let's use tomato. Somebody used tomato last time. That means I want to use tomato. I think that's messy. Yes. After that, let's say height. Let's say 80 pixel. Now let's see what we have done. Did you see what I have done? Now that's the header. I can even increase this height to 100. So you see, then I can now tell you that text, anything that want to come inside, text align, anything that want to come here to come to the center. Then I will put color of white, not color, white smoke. Let's leave it white. Abi, let's put font. Font family. So let's continue. not the gen. Not the gen. I think something is shaking somewhere.
It's the socket. It's shaking. It's the sockets.
The generator. The generator. Laptop is too much. And the projector has power. So you see what we have done so far. So we can still do something here. We can look at so we can look at something here called let's look at, we can add something here. Let's see let's see. That doesn't give us anything. So let's change this font size to like 20, and let's come back and put our break here.
So what's that
Break allows you to come to the next line. So you can do it better. I'm coming. Let's use H1. Yeah, this is better, Abby. So now let's do something. I want to put another div inside this again. So it means inside this now you can see I have one div here, Abby. I have another div, and I want to have another div right here. So this other div now I'm going to call it class. This class will now be what? Form. So inside this class now I have my what? Input. So input is what? Is an element that helps us collect text from the what? From the users. So the type here will be what? Text. Then I will have what? Placeholder. I will have what? Enter username. And I'm going to call it what? Required. So that if you do not put anything, the guy will not allow you. So the next thing I want to have is I want to have a break. Let's have 2 break. He said? Yeah, I don't need label. So here will now be enter what? Password. Then here will now be what? Password. So let's look at what we've done so far. Yeah, Abby. But that's not what we want. Now let's style. The last thing we're going to put here is let's put the last input there. So this one will now be what? Submit. Then all this one will disappear. So this one will now be what? Let's just say value. Then it will now be what? Login. So let's put a class here. So let's call this class what? Submit. That class means I want to style, Abby. Now let's put class here also. I'm going to call this what? Input. So let's copy this and paste it here. Isn't that good? Now let's go and style our form, Abby. So I'm going to go and say what? Dot form. Then form, let's say the width, because it's still inside that container, and the other one is 500. Let's make this one what? 400. And height of that one is 350. Let's make this one 250. And let's give it a what? A border. Let's say 1 pixel solid, and let's give it tomato. Now let's look at what we've done. Wow, it's too big. So it's too big, Abby. Now let's reduce it to like 150. Let's see. Okay, better. Let's set it margin, Abby. with that, we come to the center, Abby. Now let's do margin top. Let's bring it to the middle. We are making sense here, Abby. Now, I think that 50 is too much. Let's make it like 30. And something here, we are missing something here. After this guy, we did not put break. Do you notice? Now let's see. Yeah, Abby. So another thing we want to do, we want to make sure everything in here goes to the middle. So we're gonna say, come back here and text align. Everything inside the form should go to the what? To the center. Now let's see. That is wonderful. So let's bring this down a little bit. From here, I'm going to bring this form. Let's give it a break. No. Okay, let's say inside this. And then you can now increase that border, Abby. Now let's increase that height to 200. Come on. That's off again. So don't worry, I'll just continue from here. You can get the video. Okay, now we are okay. I'm going to extend this height also to something we call. I'm going to extend it to something we called, let's make this height here, instead of, not the header, I mean the content itself, the form content, to, let's say 380. Let's extend it to 380. So with that, we should have something like this. So, we should have something like this. Now, the next thing I want to do, I want to start. If you look at it already, I think because we have a CSS called input, it has taken the shape of this guy already. You can see we have an input there before. So now let's change this now to another thing. So in our CSS now, we're going to say input 1. Sure you get? Input 1. So it will be different for the one we use from the registration form. So input 1, and we're going to change this one to submit 1. So we'll go and do our own now. That's this one, no unnecessary space. So we're gonna say dot input 1. The width now should be, the width of that thing is 350 Abby. Now let's make it 300 pixel. Then padding, let's make it 5 pixel. Now let's see. Yeah. So Abby. So also another thing we want to look at is that let's increase the padding to like 8 pixel. Better, Abby. Now let's do for the submit. So we'll say dot submit 1. Oh, sorry. Submit 1. I will just copy the same thing here, but I'm going to change the value of that width. So this one can now be let's just say 100. Then this one will be 10. Okay, let's make it 130. And this one, let's put the background color tomato. And let's put something here called font family. Let's use this guy. Oh yo. That font family is not fine. Okay, let's change the color to let's look at something. So you can see what we've done. So the last thing we want to put here, let's change this color too. You can change the color. Let's say font weight. Let's make it bolder. Now the last thing we want to put here, if you look at this now, is far better. Abby. So another thing you want to do, you can even put I'm seeing something that I don't like. It looks more simpler for me. Abby? So let's increase the padding. The padding gun is small. Abby? Anybody can see. Shady? Yeah. So your assignment now is to add a link here. Put a link for register. It means if you don't have what already registered, click here to what? Register. The register should be able to take you to what? The registration form. In that place where we have that other, okay, now let's change the assignment now. In the last assignment I gave you guys, no, I think you should put login there. Don't put login there, put an image there. Image of maybe a student or something. I did something, let me show you what I'm insinuating. Look at this work that I'm working on. Elementor, yeah, this work. If you look at this, this is my notice page. Let me get out of here. You can see this application. This is what I asked you to do. So this for a school and developing your website. You can see, let me do something like this. This is what we did before, I mean. Yeah. You did this one before. Yeah. So then, this one in your work is in this side. Yeah. Now let this one come to what? This side. Or you can image. Am I making sense now? Yes. So that when you click on that login, I need to put this in here. So when you click on that login, it will now take you to this page, to your registration page. So you get, when you click on that link, when you click on the link here, if you have a link here, when you click on the link, it will take you to what? The registration page. Do you understand? I bypassed the message.